Actually, let's just go beat him up in close combat. Let's see what happens. That happens. You just get a face full of lead. Well, welcome back, you beautiful people, to another frosty morning on the ice sheet. Even though it's not morning, it's apparently 10 o'clock. But details, it's dark and it's cold and we're on an ice sheet. And this is a proto ice sheet challenge. Not really an ice sheet challenge because we've got a bunch of mods. So it's a little bit easier than a natural ice sheet. But the plan for this episode is going to be fairly straightforward. We're going to build the base. We're going to get some proper rooms sorted and get some geothermals in. So start everything off, we do need to start the research on the geothermal power and then into the biofuel refueling. I did get a comment saying why don't I use the chemfuel mod to turn corpses into chemfuel. That is already installed, we just have the research for it. It is basically one of my staple mods. I don't think I've had a playthrough where I haven't had it in because it just sorts the bodies out. Only drawback to it is once the bodies get processed down, they drop all their clothing. So long as you've got enough crafters, it works super well. If you don't have enough crafters, then your whole base just gets full of junk and yada 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 details. But that works pretty well. We're still running quite low on steel, so we are going to go here, try to mine this out, and I think just to save travel time we'll take those bits. And we got a gold ore right there. Anything more there? I think that is just it. No, that's it. That's cool. One order on 34 items. Have we just highlighted all the rest of the gold on the map? I guess we'll find out sooner or later. We still have, 4 ship chunks left up here and a whole bunch of survival meals, which we are actually going to get Paddock to haul in straight away because we don't want them deteriorating because, well, they're going to be quite useful. For supplies, we're looking pretty good. We've got plenty of meat because of the front bows. We are pulling ahead on the rice, so we're harvesting more rice than we're consuming. So that's good. We also want to expand this hydroponics area. Not so it's like crazy big, but so we can like continuously be producing cloth, hill root, rice, and devil strand eventually. And with all of those, we're going to be in a super good situation. But it still is holding us back at the moment. And then once we get all of this done, we'll get the lights in, all the power. This research is going to go super quick, which is going to be pretty ace for us. Well, I don't think this is meant to be a thing, so we have 3 insect queens migrating across the map. Yeah, I don't think that's a thing somehow, so there must be a bug somewhere, because I'm pretty sure you're only meant to have like 1 queen at a time, so there being 3 of them. And if we have a little look-see, armor value on them is 12%, so I don't think, well not 12% but 12mm, so I don't think going and fighting them is going to be a great idea. Because they are super thick. And if I'm not mistaken, they've got slightly different AI to other animals. That's why insects are a little bit more challenging and they tunnel and they mine. So I'm not sure if hiding behind the embrasures and shooting out and trying to take them down would work, because I'm pretty sure they just aggro in and then just tunnel through the walls, which would put us in a lot of trouble. And this being Iron Man, if we mess up and we die, yeah, that's it, and it's game, so gotta be careful on that. A bunch of medieval tribals coming in from the dynasty again, and this time, well, that's a peasant, and we've also got a knight, so should be able to deal with them quite happily. Paddock was just out here mining the steel, so our little research lab is coming on okay. I think like 1 more trip, and that should give him enough steel to finish this off. And once that's done, we're going to start researching a bit quicker. And Paddock still is having a slight issue with shooting. It's not super accurate, and I'm also apparently having a bunch of issues trying to control the screen. But details. Which one were you? You were the peasant. And as for gear, what have you got? That's all cloth stuff. Do you know what? That's not going to be worth taking. So Paddock, you carry on doing what you're doing. We need this done, and then we need a geothermal to be researched. Then we can start actually moving the base round. And I think once that's done and the base starts moving around, well, as soon as geothermal's down, we're getting turrets. And then with turrets in, we can start moving around the base. And there's also a recommendation to have like an exit coming in, which is something that we have said about. And yes, that is a very good idea. But issue with it is where the base is sealed here. If we put an exit and entrance in here, all that will happen is the sappers will go for the weakest point, and that there will be the weakest point, and the sappers will come through. So until we can get turrets so we can actually hold in case someone tries to come through, we can't really put a new exit in. Entrance, exit, whichever you want to call it. But yeah, bang on idea, and that is something that we are going to do. And what's over here? Oh, we got someone else from Dynasty. Did not see them. So we got jet, and let's just jet over there and shoot them in the face. Probably should have gone and fly over there thinking about it. That would have been way better. And they're attacking. And yeah, missed micro on my part. Come on, Paddock. For someone that's meant to be in some crazy good armour, or she's meant to give you a lot more movement, you're not super quick. Actually, let's just go beat him up in close combat. Let's see what happens. That happens. You just get a face full of lead. And he is wearing the white tabard, which doesn't look too bad. But also, that modelling on the battle rifle is super smart. It kind of looks like the new generation squad weapon. I think it is the SIG version is the one that looks like, and that's a serious bit of kit. Pretty rapidly, Paddock has managed to get up to 590 steel there. So what we're going to do is prioritise hauling. He is recreation starved and he is tired, which isn't great, but he's going to be able to take most of that in like one trip. And we got a Labrador Retriever, or multiple. Where is it? We got 4 doggos. Okay, well, that is definitely going to help get rid of the corpses. No, that is twisted. Being like, so you got a bunch of animals on your ice sheet. Yeah, but like, oh, so use them for hauling and maybe a little bit of fighting. No, they just eat the dead bodies because we don't have tech to get rid of them really. So all the dogs go in there, they're all going to get hungry, and all those corpses are going to get nommed up super quick. Does mean that we are going to... Oh, what's happened here? No. That is not okay. Prioritise extinguish this fire, so we've got another assist, which is part of the reason why we don't like having batteries. And with that going out, and for some reason it always happens when the wind turbines aren't going, so it can't recharge. Not sure if that's coincidence or something that the game does to like try and stitch you up. But yeah, a little bit annoying. And this is the amount of progress made on the geothermal. I know, colossal, game-changing amounts of research. But we just got a bunch of other stuff that's on the go at the moment, which is... I would say it's more important because the geothermal in the long run is way more important, but these are like short-term things that we can sort out, which is going to balance out and just make all of this go on a little bit quicker, if that's worded right. Lloyd finally got eaten, so yet again, pause strikes. Pause is really good at eating other colonists, thankfully. So, what's that? So we've got 5 doggos in total. Now, with combat extended, what you got to be careful of is, in normal Rimworld, you basically own the whole map, right? So the whole map's yours, so anything happens, you just can get back to the base. Not a big issue. Now, with the range of most of the weapons on combat extended, you can only really operate like until you're really well equipped and later on and more of the map is secure. You can only really operate around your base. Because as soon as you start going out, if one of you guys gets ambushed, which happens all of the time, a colonist will go down, and it only takes like someone with a pistol will like wipe out one of your best colonists if they are not equipped to deal with it. Now Paddock should be right because he is in the power armor, but as we saw earlier when fighting that guy from the Dynasty, they are basically just running around with virtually no kit, and they were able to catch up with Paddock because Paddock is carrying like 1,502 rounds of ammunition, and so his bulk's quite high and his weight's quite high, which makes him slower. Now, is Paddock really going to use all of those rounds of ammunition? No, and should I do something about it? Most likely, but when it comes down to a proper shootout, and I mean a proper shootout, you can get through a lot of rounds of ammunition, and especially if you're shooting rounds that aren't very good at taking down what you're trying to fight. So yeah, loss of ammo is good, and I've had more colonists die because we've ran out of ammo or people haven't been carrying enough than people getting wiped out because of other things. And we've also got a bunch of migrating princesses. So these are like vat-grown ones. And let's see what you are. Okay, so this is interesting. So it's a vat-grown princess. It's basically a rip-off of the queen. So it's genetically engineered to produce a large amount of unfertilized insectoid eggs. A mere shadow of the actual insectoid queen. Slow and quite incapable of handling herself in combat situations. How many of you are there? 5. Now, Solarians love insect meat. So I think we go over here and let's see if we can't take one of them down, because we're going to be able to outrun them quite easily. I want to see how tough they are. Not crazy tough, and they will produce eggs. That being said, that's like three rounds, well, 3 bursts into her, and it is just doing fine. It's just pushing on. Okay, there's one down. Let's take out another. So we're taking down one more, shooting the one in front for some reason. And again, I think it's because they're just so big, it's just blocking all the ammos. All the rounds. Okay, we got revenge, so we've got the 4 of them coming in. Okay. Retreat back into the base. Let's make this happen, and let's spray them down. Because all that insect meat is going to be quite useful. And I wonder if we get royal insect jelly. Yeah, so these ones won't attack the walls. I figured they probably wouldn't. And we've got a low psychic drain male. How much is that going to affect Paddock's mood by? Even though he seems to be quite happy here, just shooting everything. 18. That's actually a decent amount. But almost all the queens are down. We just got one left. And how many rounds of ammo have you used up just in that? Like, what, 120 plus whatever was in the mag? Cool. Easy. But that is going to sort us for meat for a long old time. And Solarians will quite happily eat it raw and get a mood buff from it. So not a bad little haul. We got, what was that, 79 royal insect jelly? Which is pretty sweet. Hopefully dogs don't eat it. And then 987 insect meat, which is pretty sweet. We got 60 chitin or chitin, whatever you want to call it. Oh, and we've still got one more queen going in. So yeah, that was definitely worth it. And also Paddock got a bit more on the old shooting going in. Weapon handling 301%. Aiming time 80%. That's actually really good. Research has come along okay, but it's still fairly slow. So what we've done is we've put a heater in. Now, if you are doing your research in an optimal temperature, then they do the research at basically the base speed, then you take all the multipliers in and add them on. So that's the cleanliness, and then the granite cabinets will add speed, and then also research speed and stuff like that. If you start working in a colder temperature, then you get, depending on what it is, like working on a kitchen stove in minus temperatures, it's minus 70% work efficiency. I'm not quite sure what it is on the old research lab, but it wouldn't surprise me if it wasn't too far off. So we try to keep it in a decent enough temperature. Now this is still going to be too cold, but we kind of don't want to be wasting our resources on getting too much heating, so it won't have as much of a knockdown, but it's still going to be okay. And yeah, buddy, this is going to be huge. So we have the UAC door-to-door traders coming in, which means we are going to be able to get a UAC skin suit. So we're going to work even faster and move even quicker, which are things that we need, seeing as we're just carrying way too much stuff now that we're moving super slowly. Insect meat is ours, Frumbo meat is ours, rice is ours, royal insect jelly, they can have all of that, so we got 500 off there. Okay, Paws is bonded. Hopefully Paws doesn't die, otherwise Paddock's going to be super upset. They can have the architect mass, we're not really going to use it in this playthrough. We did pick up some mortar shells from a transport pod, but they can have those, we'll get rid of the whip. Keep our shotgun, because we're always going to need that. And now we can get someone that is completely and utterly broken and amazing. The UAC Heavy Assault Rifle 50 BMG. So 50 BMGs, a very large round that causes a crazy amount of damage. And this shoots in a 6-shot burst, which is awesome. Slightly longer range cooldown than our battle rifle, but it doesn't really matter, seeing as one of their AP rounds does... Where is their plain AP? They got full metal jacket, which does 41 damage, but it's not putting up what standard 50 cal does. Okay, so yeah, probably still do 25 damage. So we got AP Incendiary, which is why it has 25 bullet damage and then 16 burn. can penetrate 28mm of armour. A standard one can penetrate 14, and I think just a standard AP round is about 20. And also it has a magazine capacity of 90. Does take a long old time to reload though, at 7.8 seconds. So if you reload at the wrong time, you're probably going to get overrun. But not too much is going to actually be able to get close to you. And then we also have the UAC rocket launcher, which is just mental. 76mm of penetration. Yeah, that is awesome. And then it's got decent blunt penetration, and then it also has a secondary explosion and an explosion radius of 1. Now, an explosion radius of 1 is super small, but it's just going to mash up anything that is in it, and has a range of 40 and a cooldown of 1.5 seconds. Do you know what? How much money we got? We got 7k. We're going to pick up the rocket launcher. We're going to pick up the 50. If we had another colonist getting the research implant would be awesome. Basilisk implant is also awesome. So Basilisk implant is really good. Not just because it gives you plus 25% learning factor and plus 0.3 weapon handling, which is really good, but it gives you plus 10% consciousness. And consciousness is like one of the most, if not the most important like trait you can have, because it affects so many other things. And then the researcher implant basically does the same. 75% learning factor, obviously insane, then plus 25% research speed, then plus 10% consciousness. So that 25% is actually more like a 35% once you take it off the base rate. Unfortunately, we won't be able to install them, and there's no point in them sitting around at the moment because they've just kind of put up our value for something that we're not going to use. Now, we can get an Architect Mass skin suit, which will give us very little in the way of protection, but will basically make us immune to heat. And then when we are coming up against the Infernopeds, that is something that we are going to need. So all in all, from this little trade, we have found some pretty awesome kit. I am not even mad. And I think that we do pick up the researcher implant just because we don't know when the next chance we are going to have to get one. And first things first, Paddock, you need to equip that. And what is this cold rating as well? Insulation, virtually nothing. But, oh, they have changed it. Awesome. The reason we did pick them up in the other episode is I thought they were a little bit too broken, but it looks like they've been modded, so they've been changed. Now 8% work speed is nothing to sneeze at, that is actually insane, and then 0.8 movement speed is also super good. But yeah, the heavy UAC assault rifle has been nerfed a little bit because its reload was never that long, so that's cool that they changed that. And then they've also nerfed the skin suits, which I'm fine with. I said 50% would be pretty good, but 0.8 I can deal with 0.8. And it also looks like they've dropped our stuff all over here. Awesome. And that can hold 6 rounds. I'm not even mad. We are soon going to be unstoppable. Come at us, mechanoids. We will take you. And seeing as we now have the 50, what we're going to do is take the 7.62x51 off, and then we got the 50 BMGs here. We don't have the research to get the AP rounds, but do you know what? Getting hit by a 50 cal, even if it's only a full metal jacket, is still going to ruin most things' days. Not going to be amazing against centipedes, but still going to be able to do a whole bunch of damage. Not going to be able to carry many rounds with it though, unfortunately, because, well, 50s are pretty heavy, you see. And why are none of you showing up? Okay, just have to do it manually. For some reason, we can't pick it up on the storage, which is a little bit odd. Never really had that problem before. So we're going to drop the battle rifle and all of the 7.62 ammunition, and then that steel as well. Definitely got a little bit excited making 2,000 rounds of ammunition. We really don't need 2,000 rounds of 50 cal. If we had a whole bunch of people using 50 cal, then yeah, it would make sense. But right now, We've only got Paddock, and he is not going to be able to carry that many rounds. So he's on 300 at the moment, and we've got like another over 1,000 just kicking around. So yeah, that looks pretty sweet. And the UAC gave us a gift. Okay, Paddock's already picked up. It looks like we've got some crypto bolts. Not that we've got a crypto gun to use them, but details. Geothermal power is researched, which obviously is great for us. So yeah, that is gonna take a whole bunch of working out. Not a massive issue. So what I think that we do right now is we take the kitchen and then we put it into the storeroom. I know it's going to be super dirty and he's probably going to get food poisoning, but not a massive deal. Then we strip out the walls, move the walls around, and yeah, get the geothermal in. And then once we've got the space to get the geothermal in, we start taking it from there. Yeah, cool. That's what we're going to do. With a little bit of tinkering and moving around, we now have cleared up enough space for the geothermal. Flip side is, turns out geothermal is quite steel hungry. So we're going to allow all of that. Nice thing about the Minify Anything mod is you can literally just reinstall everything everywhere. So that is all gravy along here. Once that's in, we'll get rid of the wind turbines. I think they're going to be more of a detriment than what they want, than what they're worth, more like. And then we'll also get rid of the battery. Off that, we are going to be able to run a smelter. With the smelter, we're going to be able to pick up all of the steel chunks that are on the map. We've got 118 so far, which is not a small amount of steel by any means. Geothermal has now come online. Awesome. Actually awesome. So all of this now is going to be reinforced with power cables, for the simple reason that we're going to need a lot of power getting around because, well, we're going to have a whole bunch of turrets. And we're going to have to try to find a way to loop the lines so if an area gets shot out, it won't cut off. So this here is just about the least likely place for the walls to get taken out. Because once we have the turrets in, they're going to be attacking the embrasures. And then when the embrasures fall, the power lines will go down as well. So thinking, going back to what I said in the other episode about reinforcing these areas so they are like independent hard points. And then that means if one section gets taken out, another section will be able to supply power to it. Does mean we're going to need a bunch more granite, but we are definitely moving in the right direction. This is looking good. We have a 50 cal. 50 cals are awesome. They can shred nearly anything that we're going to come up against. Once we get the AP rounds, at the moment we would still get spanked by centipedes. Lancers we should be able to deal with. Glass we won't be able to, and a carpenter we wouldn't have a chance at all. But with this done, we can get the turrets in. With the turrets in, that means we can go out, go raiding, and then end up going to pristine ruins and that. And also, we are now going to be able to start looking into building a little escape hatch in the back, or an exit as such. I am liking this. I think that this is looking good for us. So we've now got some different medieval tribals coming in. So I think it is time we try out the old 50 cal. I want to call it the Mardouse, but it's not. But yeah, you are not going to be able to shoot a 50 caliber assault rifle. There's a reason you have the Barrett 50 cal, which is an anti-material rifle, and they say it sounds like God coughing when it fires. And then you also have the Mardouse, which is another 50 cal machine gun that needs a tripod to like be put in place by any means for any length of time. And they generally mount on vehicles because actually just keeping it stationary when it's on the ground is pretty difficult unless you bolt it down. But yeah, let's just go here and see what this does. That was a good start. I like that. When someone gets hit, it's going to disappear. God, it is just devastating. utterly devastating. Cool. So there's one down. Boys coming at us. Well, I don't think we're going to be taking any prisoners anytime soon. I think is what we need to take from this. And geothermal's done. We got some turrets going in. Research is done. We've got a 50 cal. The base has been reorganised. I think that is a good place to wrap up the episode. So thank you very much for watching. I've been Konzi. You know what you need to do for the algorithm. You guys are awesome. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.